Target CEO Michael Fidelki say Voldemort action committee.
They have a committee for that.
I don't want him saying Voldemort.
I like that.
That's not a relevant term anymore. Voldemort, right? People don't talk about Harry Potter anymore, do they?
Yeah, of course they do.
No,
Isn't that? Yeah, it's like he who shall not be named.
It's a Business Fans Friday show here at January 30th Studios featuring analyst Matt Moscardi.
Woo.
On today's weekly wrap-up, heartbroken CEOs, CEOs who heart de-escalation, and obliterated delivery robots.
Yeah, that made me happy. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Our show today is being sponsored by FreeFlow Analytics and FreeFlowAnalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, performance for free. I included some of the
brand new influence numbers.
I included some of the data in one of the top stories this week, just because of how telling it is. It's just one of the wonderful things you discover when you look at the database, when you search for things.
It's great having a sponsor that sticks with us for that long and is so reliable.
All right, you want to get over all the happiness now and get to the show?
Yeah, let's make it horrible. Let's do it. It's gonna be so. I have a mini Blaine game later on, so it's gonna be long. So strap in.
Now look, I know a lot of businesses are closed today. There are many businesses in Portland, Maine closed today as part of a protest. But look, we're gonna defy the protest. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do our show.
I'm currently on strike
because we're talking about the very story. We're allies. We're allies in this fight. So let's do it. Story of the week. The first one is obvious. Trump's ICE tactics force CEOs to choose between staying silent and risking White House backlash. If that's the headline, if that's the case, then that's from CNBC. They're still overall, they're pretty silent, because the big story was this Chamber of Commerce from Minnesota. 60 CEOs came out, which is about half of them are publicly traded companies. And then we had a handful of other people who felt sad, like the Tim Cooks and the Sam Altman.
Sad.
But really, the bigger picture, when you pull back, I know a lot of people have given credit to these Minnesota CEOs, is that no one's saying anything, really.
No, everything they say is nothing burger.
So CEOs of Target, they calls for and many Minnesota CEOs call for de-escalation.
That's some lawyer somewhere found the word de-escalation.
De-escalation.
And just passed that around. Everybody everywhere is asking for de-escalation.
More on that later, actually, as part of my prediction. CEOs long silent on Trump's immigration crackdown seem to hit their breaking point over killing of Alex Preddy in Minnesota. Target's incoming CEO tells staff violence in Minneapolis is incredibly painful without naming Trump or ICE. It's a good one.
That was nice.
By the way, as I have been doing now habitually, I always go to Target's website. I look at their press releases. I look at their statements. They have news releases, press releases, statements. Here's the latest one from January 28th, only 2 days ago. Target unveils largest spring beauty assortment ever, making trend-driven, expert-backed beauty more accessible.
Finally.
So they really don't
expert-backed beauty.
So whoever you are, if you're falling from Michael Fidelki's nonsense, please don't fall for it, because
they have Brian Cornell. It's January 30th. Brian Cornell is CEO until February 1st, and then he's executive chair. This is that one guy. It's not Fidelki yet.
ICE is going too far, according to Sam Altman and Jamie Dimon and more CEOs. Apple's Tim Cook says he's heartbroken.
Yeah.
And then Reid Hoffman, we kind of disagreed on this one earlier this week. Reid Hoffman says business leaders are wrong to stay silent about the Trump administration. Now,
you didn't disagree. He's just
you pointed out that he's a
donor.
He's a big donor. But I just don't feel like I would have captured the headlines if he had been speaking out. I haven't seen him speak out much, so I don't know why he's pretending like he's on the right side of history here. But whatever. Reid, stay at it. Shame your fellow CEOs. Do something. But that's the first story of the week. I mean, and really, like, what? I don't even know. I had this like little glimmer of optimism earlier in the week, but what's come of any of this? Like, I don't even know.
They didn't say or do anything. They just said pretty please de-escalate. Now the Trump administration is feeling the pressure. So that there is this,
but
they're not feeling
what's
it from
the
CEOs.
change? But what's the change?
What they're feeling it from is public backlash.
The optics are bad, yeah.
And the optics of executing someone in the street are bad. Generally, that's considered bad.
But they haven't drawn down ICE by any means. They haven't changed.
They got rid of
rules.
Bovino.
Wow, great.
They didn't get rid of him. Sorry, they moved him somewhere else.
Him. That's nothing. That's nothing. Anyway,
all I'm saying is nothing. Yeah. You're right. Nothing has changed, and the reason why is because it's of he who shall not be named. None of these CEOs, none of the letters, none of the statements named Trump. Why won't you fucking name the problem? In fact, the worst one was the Minnesota letter, which is supposed to be like the one that is the breaking point, because not only did they not name Trump, but they called ICE recent challenges, air quotes.
They also didn't even use the proper title. They didn't even say the president. They said the White House.
They said the White House.
Despite saying the vice president. They couldn't even say the president.
You know the scene in A Few Good Men where they're in the courtroom and Jack Nicholson is railing on Tom Cruise, and he goes, "Who's going to do it? You, Lieutenant Caffey? You, Lieutenant Weinberg?" And all of a sudden he yells at Kevin Pollak, who's sitting at the table, who's said nothing the entire time. That's what this is. This is like vice president, right? Like, what are you doing? That's not the guy. The guy is Trump. As soon as you get over the fact that you can't say his name, then we're going to talk about real change. We can't make any change until you say a name.
The people who should be credited here is the protest movement in places like Minnesota. Minnesota workers pressure employers to take action against ICE operations, and then there's also today. There's a national shutdown, a general strike. Look, it's not a general strike, but they're trying. The point is that if these CEOs and corporations want to do something about it, they have the power. That's all. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Yeah.
Want to know what they could do? They like the things that are in their power. First of all, they're massive donors and they can donate, right? Like that's what Citizens United allows you to do.
Yeah.
And you can donate. You can donate to anybody who doesn't want to fund ICE and this immigration crackdown the way it is.
Or to all the groups working to help immigrants and the people who ICE are targeting. Because even here in my city, a lot of the businesses are donating full days of and these are businesses that don't make a lot of money. They sell cookies and coffee, and they're already struggling. They're donating like full days of profits, 100% of the profits. I mean, Target.
It's always the small
easy opportunity target. How about all of January's profits? There you go.
Well, the other thing you could do, so this is something that our family did. We donated to buy body cameras to anybody who's protesting.
Find it hard to believe you have a family.
The reason why we are seeing what's happening is journalists aren't allowed and the ICE agents aren't wearing body cams and they cover their face. We're seeing it all because the activists on the ground, the people on the ground, they're not activists, they're people on the ground who are trying to protect their city from a militia that stormed it, are wearing cameras.
No. Well, I think you're wrong, actually. I think they are activists. Elliott Management, I think they've been protesting a lot. All right, let's move on. That's the first story of the week. Second is, maybe the part that we're forgetting here is the other side of this. Companies reap, this is from the Financial Times, companies reap $22 billion from Trump's immigration crackdown. Some other related links. Meta blocks links to ICE list across Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. So these are their users trying to...
What a fucking asshole that kid is.
As big tech CEOs speak up about violence in Minneapolis, 1 in 3 corporate leaders think ICE tensions are not relevant to their business, which is probably a higher number. Those are the ones that actually admitted it. Another article, how ICE already knows who Minneapolis protesters are. I think this is from the New York Times. Agents are using facial recognition, social media monitoring, and other tech tools. And, and the point being that those tech tools, that social media monitoring, these are all companies like profiting off of what's going on. Now, I wanted to take a look at 4 companies that are making money off of ICE. Palantir Technologies, that's run by Alex Karp.
Alex Karp.
has at least a $30 million contract to build Immigration OS, a platform designed to provide near real-time visibility on individuals for the purpose of streamlining apprehensions and tracking self-deportation. Ugh, I mean, that's just gross. But
it's the grossest thing. Can you imagine working there and they're like, you know what we want to do? So, we want to track brown people wherever they go. What a horrible person you must be to stay there.
There are 4 companies I uncovered in this list gaining from ICE. One is the company that puts out LexisNexis is a company called RELX, R-E-L-X. LexisNexis Risk Solutions. They provide ICE with investigative databases, $22 million contract. Thomson Reuters, they supply ICE with access to massive databases. And then Clearview AI, a company that we've talked about a lot in the past, has a multi-million-dollar contract providing facial recognition technology. So I decided to plug these companies into the FreeFlow Analytics database, and this is the one common denominator, the one common data point they have in common. Palantir Technologies, a gender influence gap of minus 26%, which means that the women on the board there have absolutely no power. At RELX, that's the LexisNexis company, gender influence gap of minus 24%. Thomson Reuters, a gender influence gap of minus 28%. It's like all basically the same number. It's all run by men. These are not family firms. RELX is like dominated by 5 men with just supreme power. So again, yet another way to use the data, yet another reason why we need diversity in leadership. And then Clearview AI, which is not a publicly traded company, not in our database, they have an advisory board of all men. So I guess their gender influence gap would be minus infinity. What is that? Infinity percent? Or because there's no women.
I think that's the correct math, minus infinity.
And maybe I should give them credit because they're like, look, we could have women on the board, but we're not going to let them have any power. So forget it. We're just not going to have them here.
I mean, so RELX and Thomson Reuters are providing information, and that's information you can buy. Anyone can buy, right? Palantir is providing something that's specific that not anyone can buy, right? Like, and the important common denominator, which is inside the 2 stories that you just read out, is one person. Meta's blocking links to ICE. You want to know who Mark Zuckerberg's mentor was? It was Peter Thiel. You want to know who's one of the founders and early investors and on the board of Palantir? It's Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is actively funding the destruction of humanity.
As he goes around giving talks about the Antichrist. That's no joke. He gives speeches about the Antichrist.
There is nothing like the legacy that he's leaving behind him, which is he hates women, he hates people of color. I mean, like there's no way to sugarcoat it, right?
No,
I'm sure if I met him, I'd feel equally as strongly at this is what he's getting at, because everything he's funded, everything he touches, is about absolutely destroying some piece of humanity. That's all he does. And he's the common denominator. Forget Alex Karp and his his big blabbermouth. I hate all this. All right. So can the next story be good?
No, that's the second story. The third story I'm calling King Bumps. King Bumps. We've seen a slew of these headlines just over the last week. JP Morgan's Diamond sees 10% pay bump to $43 million. Disney CEO Bob Iger's pay increased 12% to $46 million. Goldman Sachs hikes CEO David Solomon's pay 21% to record $47 million. Wells Fargo CEO Charlie Scharf gets 28% pay boost to $40 million. And then the last one I want to focus on is Brian Niccol, the new CEO at Starbucks, who is now they're making him use the because of security reasons. Although who exactly is after the CEO of a coffee company? I'm kind of curious about. Granted, it's one of America's biggest drug companies, so I get that connection. It's like he's like a cartel head, but I don't know who's coming after Brian Niccol. They're now he can use the plane for everywhere he goes. He can use the jet. In fact, they're making him
the language. Yeah,
everywhere he goes. Yeah, following a security review of risks, the Starbucks board of directors made the decision to enhance security measures for Brian. This included a decision by the board to require Brian to use private aircraft for all travel.
Require Brian to use private aircraft.
Let's talk about Brian for a second. Yeah, you want to say something?
He makes coffee, right? Like,
he sells coffee at a place that is routinely hated. By the way, I know people are addicted to it, but everywhere I go, people kind of. Maybe I live in a liberal bubble, but
yeah, you live.
People
in Portland,
sneer at.
Count, yeah.
But anyway, he made $96 million last year. This year, he made $31 million, including temporary housing expenses. In the amount of $370,000, temporary housing expenses they give him money for.
Yeah, it's $1,000 a day where he stays.
Security expenses in the amount of $1.1 million, and then $1 million related to his aircraft. Now, the median employee last year at Starbucks made about $17,000, which means that his pay ratio was 17.94 to 1, which means on the first day of the work year at 10:10 a.m. he made as much as their average Starbucks.
I don't think he got enough.
His temporary housing expense alone is a pay ratio of 22 to 1. This guy's made $127 million.
You don't know if he's got 26 kids.
They're paying his rent. I mean, that is just shameful. Let's not forget the baristas are still looking for better wages and better benefits. Still.
I mean, like, I love the fact that he's paying $30,000 a month for rent. Can you think of a place near you that costs $30,000 a month to live in?
Well, maybe he lives in the Seattle. Like, maybe he lives in the Space Needle. Like, is there like an apartment up there?
I mean, finding a hotel that costs $1,000 a night is actually
that's a nice
hard.
Hotel.
It's like there's some,
and I would think you could broker. I would think you could broker a deal too. I mean, if you're there all year.
Like, if you can broker a deal to take the plane everywhere you want to go, yeah.
And finally, that's the third story. Is all these I'm calling them king bumps. The last story of the week is the docu-bribe. Do you know what that is when I say the docu-bribe?
Melania.
Oh, you do. You know, it's so there was
everywhere.
There was the premiere of some documentary about Melania Trump, but it happened Saturday at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, which I know has been renamed, but I'm not gonna. It's the Kennedy Center, but anyway, a little bit of background: Amazon paid Melania Trump's production company $40 million for the movie, and then paid another $35 million to promote it.
Jeff Bezos, you mean?
That's Jeff Bezos' Amazon,
not Amazon. Jeff Bezos.
Here are the guests I could find to this event, and this is Saturday, right? Saturday was the day. Let me look at my calendar briefly. Saturday was the day that Alex Preddy was murdered, and that's 3 weeks after Renee Good was murdered. So let's not forget that Renee Good happened 3 long weeks ago. Okay, everyone's focused on Alex Preddy, that death being what the turning point was, but you know, it was 3 weeks after Renee Good. Here are the guests, some of the guests at this event. First of all, the first one, the real life Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. He's that guy. He shows up at parties. This is a celebrated guy.
He got fired. He can't do anything else.
I thought he was okay. Anyway, Tim Cook
tours.
Tim Cook at Apple. These are all. I think everyone I'm about to name is a CEO. Tim Cook. Andy Jassy, of course, Amazon, Lisa Su, AMD, Eric Yuan, Zoom, Lynn Martin at New York Stock Exchange, Larry Culp at GE, Sam Altman, OpenAI, Satya Nadella, Microsoft, Sundar Pichai, Google, Safra Katz, Oracle, David Brown, Victory Capital, David Ellison, Skydance, Paramount, and then the last one surprises me. It was hard to know if this was like valid or not, but what I'm seeing is that I'm getting reports that Mark Benioff from Salesforce was there. I don't know why that surprises me, but he was the one who. Did he originally call for the National Guard to come into San Francisco earlier this year?
Mark Benioff said that,
and then he
city
recanted.
was a shithole, and the National Guard should come, and then backed off it, took a picture
people
of
were
himself
angry
with a police officer from San Francisco.
Okay,
said,
so maybe he was
police.
So maybe he was at the event. Maybe I'm wrong. And then finally, the saddest, but most this kind of tells it all. The director Brett Ratner, he directed the Melania documentary. He was the man accused of, I shit you not, these are all things he's been accused of by at least 9 women and some very high-profile actresses included in this list who came out and reported this, accused of rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment and homophobic abuse. And the stories are, I was going to list out the stories, but they're too horrific. I mean,
they're terrible.
But he's the guy. They're calling his post Me Too comeback. I mean, this is the guy that they found to direct, that Amazon found to direct this movie. I mean, what a
you know,
my blood is boiling.
The allegations against him were not like singular. They were from a lot
multiple women,
like multiple women, multiple years.
9 I can find on a record.
All this stuff. They were so bad, he wasn't allowed back into Hollywood, and he instead immigrated to Israel. He just left the country.
Yeah. Good. Sorry,
well, now
Israel.
He's back.
Sorry I had to take him. Yeah, now he's back because of Jeff Bezos. So
my options.
Those are my 4 stories
of the week.
Sorry, I mean this was the
worst stories in the history of story of the week. But I'm gonna go. The story isn't how much companies are reaping from the immigration crackdown. I think, first of all, the bulk of that is actually coming from a company building a wall in Mexico, which is dumb, and a private airplane company, which is shuttling ICE agents around. And that's pretty much all it does.
Boeing's one of the companies that has they're using their planes, right, to fly people out.
Some, yeah, but I wish the King bumps where it wasn't so quaint now relative to the other stories.
Well, look, I included this because
is the problem.
I included that story because this is what they do no matter what's happening, whether it's in secret, whether it's out loud, they just continue to enrich themselves.
Well,
that's the problem. No matter how bad America is.
They do it while all this other stuff is going on, and it's really hard to pay attention to. And it's good to keep paying attention to it, but it does not make it the story of the week.
These are huge raises, though. Huge raises.
Like, who went to the Melania premiere is not surprising. It's the same guys who are basically on their knees kissing Trump's ass anyway, right? Like, it's the same everybody. It's mostly men.
Mostly tech, though. Mostly tech.
Of course it's mostly tech. They're the ones who have the most, like, he's got the largest ass to kiss for tech.
And the other ones, corrupting our society the most, so why not show up to that event?
Just by process of elimination, it has to be ICE and the CEOs. I mean, what the CEOs are not doing and not saying about he who shall not be named is the story of the week. That's
this is what we I think we talked about in our prediction show, because we were praising Costco for some of their actions in 2025, and we wondered, when is it going to happen? Is anyone going to act like Costco? I didn't see it happening like this, and I think this is unfortunately such a meaningless version of it, because it's almost like they had to, right?
This is what's so important about, like, the free flow analytics data, because it's the names of people, right? Like, we should know and be able to talk about who is responsible and accountable, whether it's your director as an investor or it's the president of the United States, Donald Trump. There is not anyone who is he who shall not be named when it comes to accountability like this, right? So I don't know. That's my story of the week. Let's do Goodliest and feel good about ourselves.
No, I don't think
is there anything good?
Yeah, I had 2 good stories. Well, maybe they weren't that good, actually. Now that I think about it, mine were not good at all.
Oh, good. Let's lead with yours.
Well, first of all, I don't know. Maybe this is good. Diversity on Fortune 50 boards. White men haven't been a majority for 3 years in a row. Now, their number is at 49.7%, despite the fact that white men represent 31% of the U.S. population, and that number is ticking up. But they're saying that a decade ago it was like 2/3. So I don't know. That's progress, I guess. The problem is that when you look at free flow analytics, and you should spend some time there. The major problem, and this is why I can't understand why people are hesitant to use data like this, because this is the most important data I've seen in a while in the ESG space, is that the problem is that these women don't have power.
They have no power.
But still, they're showing up. But I just wish people would use this data to make informed choices about voting or engagement, or just publishing articles, or just in your blog, whatever. To tell your friends, it's important stuff. Women are there but have no power. That's an important thing.
I love that we had to look for a cohort that this could be possible in, so they reduced the number of companies
Fortune
to 50.
I know, because that was my first thought, is that when you broaden this out to the Fortune 500 and then to like the Russell 3000, this number is gonna go way up. The amount of white men on the boards.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Yeah.
My second story of good list, which is really not good, but at least someone's trying to fight back. This is today. They're calling it a general strike, a national shutdown. January 30 aims to push ICE out of Minnesota. Stores closed. Protests scheduled in all 50 states. Look, this is ultimately what gets CEOs and things to change. Is just this kind of action.
Except that it's not people who are working at like Cigna and fucking the Apple Store aren't doing this, right? Like it isn't.
That's true. It's the service industry in my city.
It's the service industry, but they're usually small businesses that end up doing it to take a stand. Like the list of people who went to Melania: Apple, Amazon, AMD, Zoom, GE, Microsoft, Google, Oracle. Those are the companies where everyone needs to walk out.
Today.
They need to walk out, right? Like you should actually, if I was working at MSCI and I heard Henry Fernandez was out there kissing Trump's ass, going to the Melania premiere and helping fund the destruction of the East Wing of the White House.
I don't know that he wasn't there. Yeah.
I would have protested constantly. They would have had to fire me because I would have spent all my fucking time being like, what are we doing? What are you doing? Who wants to work for you? I don't care how politically expedient you think this is. That's not the be all end all.
Yeah. What do you got?
I don't like yours.
Do you have actually good list?
I have one that's actually good list. I'll start with that one. Judge greenlights Massachusetts offshore wind project halted by Trump administration. That's right. The Trump administration halted 5 offshore wind programs in the Northeast, all blue states, non-Trump states, and halted them, claiming national security was an issue because of radars and birds or some bullshit, some gaslight. All 4 out of the 5 have now been restored, with the 5th one probably coming. This one was the vineyard wind off the shore of Martha's Vineyard, so that the bougie vineyardites can get free energy for the rest of their lives. I just like that there is some bulwark. If judges do a thing.
Remember we screamed about this at the beginning of the administration, the Trump administration 2.0. We were screaming at academia and law firms. Remember when Trump was coming down hard on them, and we were saying, "Hey, fight back, sue back."
Yes, sue back.
Yeah. Why are you settling immediately? And this is what these so this is good. I mean, this is why these companies are getting their projects reinstated, because they fought back.
I mean, you've heard the taco trade, right? The Trump always chickens out trade.
I love tacos. Yeah.
This is the JART trade.
In fact, I'm starving right now.
The JART trade is judges always reverse Trump. If you had bought, if you had bought some of these stocks of the wind energy companies, they plummeted when they halted them. If you bought them as soon as they say we're halting it, and they can't halt it, it's illegal. It's fucking illegal. You know it's going to come back. Buy them cheap and double your money. I did this. I did it personally when they came out against Tylenol.
Okay, this is why you're so rich.
Yes, that's why. I put all $300 that I was going to spend on
What's
Starbucks
your other good list?
My other good list. Here's the headline. Delivery robot gets stuck on train tracks, gets obliterated by locomotive.
I like that one.
I love that. I watched the video of it.
There's a show, I don't even remember the name of the show, but there's a show that Seth Rogen stars in. And my only part of the show I really actually enjoy is every time he walks by a delivery robot, he kicks it over. I appreciate that.
I like that a lot.
Well, I don't want to get hung up on this. I don't want to get hung up on this, but why do we need delivery robots and drones? What part of our culture demands that? What I don't understand that one.
Don't know. We don't want to pay workers.
Help me.
We don't want to pay humans. Someone's got to pay for the food that you're delivering, right? You fire all the people who would pay. But I don't even really get. I don't get food delivery to begin with. I mean, Like,
I don't want a hamburger 45 minutes after it's made anyway. Like after it's like someone's put it in the front seat of their like 1993 Toyota Tercel. Like I'd rather just go there and buy it. Like are people afraid to leave their homes now? Is that what's happening?
I rarely go out or get delivery.
Okay, but if you get a cheeseburger, can you promise me that you just have the guts to go to the counter and ask for a cheeseburger?
It's not that hard. Look, it was worth it to have a delivery robot, if for no other reason, to watch it get stuck on a train track in the middle of the street and get run over.
All right, let's move on.
All right, let's move on from that.
Oh no, this is going to be bad.
Well, you covered a lot of my stories already, and I didn't want to do a single asshole. It was hard, so I did a asshole blame game.
I like blame games. I like all games.
So, which asshole do you blame? I'm going to read you a headline, and I'm going to give you a couple options, then you can pick the asshole. Here's the first one. Trump's ICE tactics force CEOs to choose between staying silent and risking White House backlash. You read the headline already. So, the first option here as an asshole to blame is obviously Trump and ICE, right? Like,
sure,
you could just blame ICE. That's putting these CEOs in that position. Sure. You can blame Palantir and the ICE industrial complex. You already talked about $22 billion
the ICE industrial complex,
worth of money for the going to immigration crackdowns, according to the FT. Alex Karp, who is the biggest beneficiary of the ICE industrial complex, has gone out of his way to insist to his disgusted employees. His employees have now come out and said this is going too far. He keeps going out and saying Palantir is bolstering civil liberties. That's from a story this week.
Well, let's not forget. I want to read the what do you call it? Not the byline. Listen to this headline from the New York Times. How ICE already knows who Minneapolis protesters are. Agents use facial recognition, social media monitoring, and other tech tools not only to identify undocumented immigrants, but also to track protesters.
Yeah, correct.
Right, so that's why this is so important, right?
Palantir's databases. I tinfoil hatted it on Tuesday, and the New York Times came out with it last night that is actually happening.
Right,
the big tech companies are using all that data that you don't care about. In fact, if you are protesting, you should cover your face. You should go out in goggles and a ski mask because.
This is what the world. This is the world I live in now.
Like that. Like it is.
It is cold out
warfare.
there, though. Yeah,
it is guerrilla warfare. Yeah, it keeps you warm.
At least up here it is. Yeah, go ahead.
So you can blame Palantir and the ICE industrial complex. You can blame CEOs themselves.
Oh yes.
If you're like the CEOs, it says the headline says Trump's ICE tactics force CEOs to choose. Does it? No. Does it? Is it really the ICE tactics that are forcing CEOs to choose, or is it CEOs? Choosing themselves not to say anything about he who shall not be named.
Yeah, they're letting a little. Their tires are like overinflated, and they're letting a little air out so that it doesn't pop. Like that's all they're doing. They're not doing anything else. They're not changing the tire.
Trying not to get noticed. Yes. They penned a strongly worded letter that asked for de-escalation. That was the strongly worded letter that they penned.
Yeah,
And they called ICE a recent challenge. They didn't even call it ICE. And they said the recent challenge was causing widespread disruption. They didn't name what the disruption
widespread disruption is more like traffic jams and potholes. And
that sounds like the internet went out. Like these are people executing protesters in the street and dragging brown people out of their homes illegally and going into Target stores.
Or stopping them from living normal lives. Like a lot of them don't even leave their houses anymore.
And they called it widespread disruption and a recent challenge.
And I got to say this, I want to push back too against the Chamber of Commerce there in Minnesota, because I was thinking about this. To do this as I was thinking like, I guess I can understand that, you come out as a collective body and maybe that has some kind of power behind it. But no, actually, if you had made every single CEO write a letter,
a personal letter,
and then one by one keep dropping them day after day, after hour, just keep the onslaught coming, keep going, but they just kind of hide behind 1 week.
That was way easier because you only need to pay one lawyer.
But we should have 60. We should have 60 different letters written by an actual human being, mostly men, really describing what's going on. But no, we have to hide behind one horrible like ChatGPT written de-escalation
then Michael Fidelki
scribe.
recorded a video, and the video he said the violence and loss of life in our community is incredibly painful.
It is, yeah, but that's only internal, not even to the public.
You know what's incredibly painful? Stepping on a thumbtack. You know what's like heinous and against human rights? What's going on in Minnesota?
Yeah,
and you couldn't even say out loud the fact that ICE came into your store, arrested your employees illegally, and then let them go because it was all illegal.
Well, let them go, not even somewhere else, not even at your own store.
Here's a quick line for you, Michael Fidelki. You could have written, "This is directly affecting the Target family. ICE is entering Target stores and making it difficult for our Target family and our customers, and it is wrong." Just say that instead of saying, "Oh, it's incredibly painful to step on a thumbtack." You could blame boards of directors.
Yeah, I knew you'd go there.
Well, every single one of these CEOs doesn't get to sign a letter unless they ask the board, right?
True.
Like in this climate, don't you have to ask every board?
And again, if they cared, every single director could write a letter.
Well, the nice part about it is, of the 60 Minnesota CEOs that signed the letter, 25 of them sit on each other's boards.
Right. Maybe that's why they only came up with one letter, because it's really just one voice.
It's really just one person. You didn't have to run it by anybody because they're all sitting on each other's boards. What a fucking waste. Actually, if anything, this single letter should expose the fact that how insular these boards are and how much groupthink there is. They have no spine. They're feckless, and they are all in it for themselves.
These are some important American companies, by the way. You're talking about like Targets and 3M. Best Buy. If they just all decided, hey, we're stopping until this gets changed, like we're shutting down operation, Trump would have listened like immediately. That's all I'm going to say. But keep going.
Could we blame Jeffrey Epstein?
I mean, this is the leading.
Look, files dropped today.
This is the leading theory to why Trump has been such a maniac the last 2 or 3 months, right?
Some more files dropped today. I actually looked through some of them. A lot of them are just redacted again. And they're not all there.
They had a month to redact.
And they're actively pulling them down as people find stuff in them.
Of course. The same they did last time, yeah.
But you know what? If not for those files, we wouldn't need to murder protesters. We wouldn't need to go to war with Iran or take over Venezuela.
Maybe it's our fault then. Maybe
Greenland.
We shouldn't point out things that Trump does wrong because it just makes him mad. Maybe it's our fault.
I mean, we should just say everything you're doing is great. Now release the Epstein files, right? Like, sure, shoot us in the street, but release the Epstein files. And lastly, I couldn't get away from this as an option. You can obviously blame investors because if not for shareholder value, we could pay attention to like human value.
Well, you could
do that.
You could blame stakeholders, like if people just completely stop shopping and working at those places, I guess, right?
So which asshole do you blame for the first one? Trump, Palantir, and the industrial complex, CEOs, boards, investors, or Epstein?
I don't know what you think I'm going to say, but I'm going to go right to the CEOs because the letter sucked and their actual collective power is off the charts. I mean, in this country especially, all they have to do is just stop. Just stop. Put their pens down. Whatever they do, just put it down. Stop, and the entire administration is going to listen. It'll work like that every time because that's all Trump really is. By the way, is he's just a business guy. So that's the only thing that speaks to him.
Self-absorbed,
that's the only thing that speaks to him. And that's the one thing that
businessman.
Americans, the world, the press will notice is when corporations just stop, they will notice that. Believe me.
Well, that was the best part of the pandemic when we stopped flying and
everything got better.
We started like hanging out with each other because there was only community left and business.
People in India could see mountains. Remember?
Yeah, it was like pollution cleared up. I remember that story. Yeah. All right.
Number
2. Yeah. Which asshole do you blame?
Yeah.
Here's a headline. As You Sow leads criticism of SEC's updated restrictions on smaller shareholders.
Help me out on this one. Give me the background on this one.
All right. So the background on this is the SEC has now released guidance that if you own less than $5 million of a stock, you cannot submit or should not submit what's called an exempt solicitation, which is a filing. All you're doing is you're going to the SEC, Edgar, you process a filing. The filing gives your opinion about a direction to vote. It usually is in conjunction with a shareholder proposal that you might have put out. So As You Sow, for instance, would do a shareholder proposal asking for a carbon accounting. They would do an exempt solicitation filing in the run-up to the vote saying, this is why we think you should vote for our proposal. It's a mechanism to inform shareholders outside of the strict guidelines of the proposal itself. Inform shareholders about your reasoning and your thinking, why it's valuable, give them some more data, that kind of thing. Okay. The SEC has now said those are being used as marketing campaigns and political stunts, right. Which they're not totally wrong, but they're also like, who reads exempt solicitations except you and me? Like, I don't know who's getting the marketing.
Actually, I think there's someone in England.
Like, it's a little bit weird.
Like Dave in the United Kingdom actually reads.
And it's electronically filed. It's not taking staff time or. The company doesn't have to respond to it. It's literally just you put a letter
to find. They're not even easy to find because they're not part of like a proper 8K news event reporting.
Yeah,
they're
you can't like filter for them very easily. Like they're so the whole thing is dumb. But now they're stopping, and it basically is targeting small shareholders because less than 5 million.
It's a wind down. It's part of the great wind down of shareholder democracy.
The great wind down is a good name for it. But do you blame the smaller investors themselves?
Okay, who else?
For 3 decades,
yeah,
they've basically been using precatory proposals to get more data out of companies, right? They've been using it to improve governance, and they have been using it as a means of advertising. But irrespective of the fact that they lose at the vote almost every single time.
Sure.
And then in the last 2 or 3 years, the anti-woke have really flooded the zone. They are just putting out proposal after proposal and exempt solicitation after exempt solicitation. That's their right to do it. But
yeah, in fact, I saw the anti-right, and we can talk about this on next week's Proxy Content, but they actually put one out to separate the roles of CEO and chair. They're doing traditional left-wing ESG now.
It's not left-wing or right-wing. It's just pure rights. But I like it. It's pure
rights. But they're the ones who called it left-wing. They have called governance and telling a company what to do to be like a liberal woke thing. I'm using their words.
Yeah, sure. Well, we can blame the small shareholders, or we can blame one small shareholder in particular, John Chevedden.
Why?
John Chevedden is the gadfly father.
Yeah.
He is the winningest shareholder in history.
Good for him.
If you added up all the wins at like Nelson Peltz and all like big like activists with billions of dollars,
yeah,
they have win board seats and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's all like big, circus and like fireworks.
A lot of money spent.
And we're going to take over a company. The fact is, when Nelson Peltz gets on a board, the board ends up underperforming. Like there's a long track record of all that stuff. You want to know who's winning more than anyone else? It's John Chevedden.
So that's why we're blaming him for winning.
Everyone hates the champion.
He's too successful.
He's too successful. The data actually shows that the SEC is taking more time to say no to Chevedden, even though like they're not saying no to they already have blanket exclusions for proposals if a company wants it. But the SEC is wasting its time responding to Chevedden's proposals saying no, right? Like they're taking their time to do that. No one likes the dynasty. Everyone hates the dynasty. Chevedden's the dynasty. This is targeting him. You could blame the SEC themselves.
Right.
The SEC is out there suggesting maybe no one should vote proxies now.
Does that mean Trump? I mean, or like, who do you mean by when you say the SEC? Who do you mean? The people that Trump has put on the
Chair Atkins and Brian, Mark Ueda, Commissioner Ueda, building off the legacy of Hester Pierce. Do you remember Hester Pierce? My favorite SEC commissioner. There's so much hand wringing from Hester Pierce. I believe she stepped down, but she was great for a long time and voted against every proposal inside the SEC.
She's kind of like your version of Tipper Gore. Remember Tipper Gore? She was against all the lyrics. She didn't like rap lyrics. Remember that?
Yeah, I guess.
Hester Pierce is like your Tipper Gore.
Like we just took a very nuanced reference and made it even more nuanced.
Yeah, keep going.
At the same time, the SEC is trying to spending their time excluding small shareholders from having any rights. In 2025, the SEC saw one of the steepest drops ever in enforcements. They just stopped enforcing shit. And they've been greenlighting crypto scams and retail vote capture plans out of Exxon This is all a grand plan. This is all part and parcel of we are tired of listening to you fucking shareholders. Just buy the stock and
deregulation. Yeah, getting rid of regulators.
So you could blame the SEC themselves, or you could blame bigger investors, not the smaller ones.
Why?
The bigger one, because they never cared about the vote anyway. 96% average vote for directors, 0.2% of directors voted out annually. And the ones that are voted out, which is 20 to 25 a year, more than half of them stay on the board, either because of a bylaw like cumulative voting, you get one vote, you can stay on the board, or they just stay on as a zombie like Jay Hogue. They don't care at all. No one cares. No one votes them out again. No one votes out the rest of the board. No one gives a shit. And now we've got AI just saying, yeah, whatever, vote for management.
This is a tough one.
So those are your options. Your options are small investors, Chevedden in particular, the SEC, or big investors.
I mean, I can't take small investors and Chevedden seriously on this one. The SEC...
Chevedden, I think, is the real reason. I honestly think his pioneering of shareholder rights, what he gave us as shareholders, has not gotten lost.
I'm still not going to vote for him. He's not I can't call him the asshole. I don't blame him. You're a big Parks and Rec guy. I've only seen it once, but the modern government, the modern SEC, it reminds me of help me out with the references here. The guy with the mustache, Ron Swanson, who wants to shut.
Ron Swanson, yeah.
Isn't that what we're living through now? Isn't the SEC now? Isn't it all Ron Swanson now? Just deregulation, shutting government down.
Ron Swanson had a moral center. Like, that's what made him such a good character.
That might be true. That might be true.
This is literally a money grab from small investors to big, from investors at large to management.
That's an important distinction here, because it'd be one thing if there was some kind of like a theory here as to that deregulation led to blah, 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 blah. But you're right. It is purely to enrich a very small subset of society.
All of the moves the SEC is doing has no justification. There's no positive justification. There's no deep study done.
Getting
on
rid
the
of accountability.
of it.
They're getting rid of our democracy.
No,
they want to wind down the democracy.
Shifting to
in general.
That's right. Yeah. They're winding it down.
Accountability is for women and for the woke, right? Isn't that what they're saying?
I think I read that somewhere. Yeah. I think that was Mark Twain.
That should be my answer, but I'm going to go for the head of the fish, like I do with the CEOs. I'm going to blame bigger investors, only because it's like, once again, here's a group who it could make a difference, right? And the SEC is always tied up into some like political headwinds, or the Trump or whoever is the president. The bigger investors, if they put down their pen, whatever metaphor I'm reaching here for, if they made a statement, if they did a thing, everyone would know about it. It would make a difference. It would change. It would change. Remember, we're now 7 years removed from that bullshit moment where the Business Roundtable talked about the purpose of a corporation, right? Stakeholders
that was
are
only
important.
7 years ago.
Once again, they still have the power. Let's not let them off the hook. They still have the power to make a difference. Still,
can we just pointing out that it was 7 years ago? Can we just also point out that from Apex to Nadir is probably the fastest drop in the history of drops.
It's the fastest, they could reverse it too. It could be changed. And
what are we going to do? This everything up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
You know how you could stop voting at all, so we could see what you're watering down the votes anyway. It's all yeses, so it's like you're killing the vote. So if you just removed your yeses, we could at least see what people are really saying. But anyway. I'm blaming bigger investors.
There's a possibility, because Brian Daly put out a speech that said proxy voting might not be a fiduciary duty, particularly if you're an index fund.
It's good because they only vote yes anyway.
The SEC has actually been really good at giving a speech, and then a month later, all of a sudden they just kill whatever it is they decided to kill with some gaslit reason.
Here's what triggered me is that there's an article out this week. I think it was the Financial Times, New York Times, whatever, doesn't matter, talking about how CEOs, they're going to stop just letting employees off the hook. They want proof. They want objective proof to what they're really achieving. So what about the the executives and the directors. Where's their objective proof? What are they achieving? Show us what they're achieving, and then make your decisions.
You've always made this case. You've always made
make your decisions based on how you vote on them. Like what are we waiting for?
You've always made the case that it's like these people
the
assert
meritocracy
stuff.
Prove it.
And yeah, they assert stuff without proof, and the like onus is on us to prove the opposite,
and then
not
we're called
for them
negative
to prove what they're saying is right.
We're called cynical, we're called negative, we're called pessimistic. But start proving your yes votes. I want show me how you come to that conclusion.
I love that.
Anyway, that's who I got. What else do you have?
One last one, and this is a short one. Which asshole do you blame? Here's the headline: Mark Andreessen says the real crisis
we have here. Yeah,
says the real crisis isn't AI job losses; it's what would have happened without AI.
Oh, so Mark Andreessen, once again, he's all knowing. He's
all knowing. He basically said we are on a path to no more sustained growth and population deceleration
because of him and his friends.
Implosion of
because
all
of
that stuff.
Because
AI
of
is
executives and owners and founders and CEOs. That's because of them.
Basically, you're worried about your small job, but I'm worried about population growth and infinite growth into the future.
Okay.
Who do you blame? The powerless, that's air quotes, AI makers. Sam Altman, from this headline, Sam Altman says AI will cause massive deflation, making money worth vastly more, which is pretty good if you're a billionaire, but he's worried about it, right? And yet he makes AI. Dario Amodei, Anthropic CEO, warns that AI tech he's creating could ravage human civilization.
Yeah, he came out with like a 20,000 word dissertation this week, right? About the state of AI.
I didn't have to read a dissertation to suggest the same thing. Stop making it. Don't make it anymore, you fuckface. The CEO of Microsoft, who is Satya Nadella, is not named, suddenly sounds extremely nervous about AI.
Why? Because of the bubble? Because of it won't make money?
Don't know. Stop doing it. Stop doing it.
Suddenly sounds extremely nervous, yeah.
AI anxiety is so widespread that veteran Microsoft researchers are having panic attacks because they're making themselves obsolete. Quit. You're going to make yourself obsolete anyway. Quit.
There's so many corners of our society that need help. Stop chasing the salary, the high salary job. Just make a normal living wage and join the people and help out.
Well, that'll be my last potential asshole here. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
The second asshole is VC navel-gazing man-child economy, like these fucking VCs who are funding the man-child economy. Andreessen's genius.
History. I still think history will assert that they are the ones who brought our society.
They're the worst. Andreessen's genius is he was an early investor in man-children. In Facebook, and Musk, and Roblox, and Airbnb.
Without them, there is no Sam Altman.
I mean, the whole VC industrial complex exists to prop up man-children.
I like that. VC industrial complex. Can we rename Stanford the VC industrial complex? Can we do that?
Yeah, we could do that. Everything's
do we have that power?
Industrial complex now.
All right.
And then finally, the option is you.
Me? Me?
You, everyone. We're all the asshole of the week because according to Jensen Huang and Alex Karp and all of these big tech bro mouthpiece CEOs, the man children, we should have been plumbers or construction workers, because Jensen Huang just said there's going to be an infrastructure boom, so you're going to be having construction workers with 6-figure salaries.
Yeah.
Or literally a peasant. That's what Alex Karp said.
Why is this their horrible view, like their horrible binary view of our culture? Why couldn't we be like teachers or community leaders or STEM scientists or you know what I mean? Like, why do we have to be plumbers and peasants? This is their binary view of our culture? You're either a rich schmuck or you're like sweeping dirt. This is what they think. These people.
So Alex Karp said this. He said, "You went to an elite school. You got a degree in philosophy. Hopefully you have another skill." And he said, "You'll be working with your hands like a peasant."
Because he's the one who said that humanities is going away, right? Humanities degrees are pointless.
He said that humanities are. So who do you blame?
Which is basically women and artists.
The poor, powerless AI makers, the VC navel gazers, or you? It's all of our fault. It's us. It's our fault. We didn't become construction workers.
Again, I'll go to the top of the totem pole, the top of the head of the dragon. And I mean, I should pick the AI CEOs because I agree with you. Just stop. I mean, that should be the motto of this show today. Just stop.
Stop going out and saying you're building something to destroy us.
But I think the unforgotten villains in our culture currently are these men who hand out the money and these VCs, the VC navel gazing man child economy, as you called it, because if they were giving money to women led groups who are working on better educational software for public schools, whatever. I mean, just think how good our culture would be after 30 years of giving like that. But instead, they're all giving for companies that can scale instantly and make them billions. Yes, that's it. Like money in their pocket and destroying our society, because really the only way to get money quickly and to destroy our culture is to scale something like overnight, right? With reckless abandon, no regulation, no guardrails, not worrying about safety, not worrying about long-term risks to our culture, just going fast. That's the only way to do this. So I'm blaming them.
Now I want you to pick. Who's the biggest CEO of the week? CEOs on ICE, the bigger investors on the SEC stuff, or the VC navel gazers on AI?
I'm going to go to CEOs. It's got to be CEOs.
Yeah, that's the win.
They make so much money. They hold so many shares. A lot of them are you discovered in the database that how many of them are founders is incredible. More and more they don't have any. They control their universe. They don't have any pushback on their own boards. So yeah, I blame them.
All right, let's get out of here.
I'm exhausted.
Headlines, winners, predictions, and get
crashing. I'm exhausted. This is an exhausting week. Now here in Maine, which is a very small state, and I'm hoping eventually will become part of Canada. And I think Minnesota too should join Canada. They claim that Susan Collins, our senator, claims that the ICE. All the ICE happenings is over. I don't believe. No one believes her.
Sure, yeah, of course.
No one believes her. But it's been so exhausting up here that I hope she's right. I hope she's right, but I don't believe her. Anyway, so where are we? Winners?
What are we on? Headlines? We're on headlines. What
do you got for
some headlines?
I got a quick one. My headline of the week: Cracker Barrel wants its staff to eat one thing on work trips. Cracker Barrel. They want them whenever possible. No, I'm serious. I read the article. This is from the Wall Street Journal, of all places. This is what they're writing about. They want them to only eat Cracker Barrel when on business trips.
So that would mean they only can go to places where there's a Cracker Barrel.
So stop blowing the budget on Subway. You just got to go to Cracker Barrel. I just love that. Only Cracker Barrel. I mean, how do you keep working at Cracker Barrel with?
Have you seen the menu?
Like
imagine how much you how uncomfortable your arteries would be if that was
like
the only
gravy
thing you ate.
Covered fried calculators or whatever.
Fried meatloaf.
Yeah. What do you got? Headline of the week.
I got two. One is the company Americans say is the best place to work in 2026 isn't who you think. I clicked the link and it's Crew Car Wash, an Indianapolis-based car washing company.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing.
What's so good about that? It sounds horrible.
I like that. What's good about
Alex
it is
Karp
that
write that headline.
It's not like working at Palantir, who's Alex Karp says his place is the best place to work. But the other one is I like better. The headline is "The worst people alive are obsessed with Meta's video recording glasses."
Yeah, I believe that.
Of course they are. Yeah. In fact, the article names one of them. They interviewed a guy named Brad Padre, who formerly went by the name Scumbag Dad. Oh. Not kidding. That was he wears the glasses and films girls' butts. It's the worst. That's what man-child Mark Zuckerberg has allowed you to do.
And you know what? That is way better than the things that the director of the Melania movie did. So it's way better.
Yeah, it's
way better.
Step up. Who on the week?
Yeah. All right, forgive me. I'm attempting to end here with a little bit of optimism.
Just It's not going to
work. I'll say the winners are the resistance in Minnesota, especially, and Maine. But Minnesota, like, I applaud the community there for a month of hard work and resistance and protest and helping their neighbors and their fellow immigrants. Just everything they've been doing. Look, let's call it a minor miracle that your month of resistance efforts actually got a CEO to open his mouth. Like, even that is like a miracle. You got Michael Fidelki to open his dumb mouth. That's a miracle.
Even so if he said nothing burger, he opened his mouth. You know what? I had a more of a joke winner. I'm going to just flip it and agree with you. The resistance, because you know what? Without the resistance, it's horrible. Like, it's horrible now, but it's even worse, right? So I'm just gonna agree with you. Predictions.
All right, bear with me on this one. January 1st will officially be recognized by the Business Roundtable as Equality Day.
Because that's the day CEOs
celebrating the grueling minutes it takes a CEO to earn more than their average worker for the year. They will issue engraved badges with the exact time for Starbucks this year. It'll be 10 a.m. They'll be created to honor the achievement. So Equality Day.
I really like that.
Okay, but maybe I admit that's a joke. That's silly. I'm being silly.
I love that. That's a great prediction.
So here's my real one. My real prediction is that Target announces its de-escalation collection, a Minneapolis-inspired line of high-fashion, neutral-tone hoodies specifically marketed as non-threatening to ICE agents and heartbroken CEOs. So you see, so it won't trigger any like CEOs, right? It should be nice beige, nice tan.
Well,
de-escalation collection.
I can't wait for that press release. That's my real prediction.
All
right, mine's simple. Alex Karp, the social justice warrior CEO of Palantir.
Yeah.
Who's out for the little guy. He said he looks out for the little guy.
Yeah.
Mass fires his staff at Palantir because of their dissent about ICE and working with ICE. Replaces them with an AI robot named the Job Displacer, something that he thinks is funny. Does a roadshow claiming he's freed his employees using AI, and now they can have authentic jobs like bagger at grocery store and guy who mixes paint.
Actually, mixing paint might be a good career move for me.
Everybody needs a paint mixer. You can't replace that with a full-time machine. That's all we got. That's Hazelnut Rollins. I'm your analyst, Matt Mascardi. We are Free Float. Come back next week when we've got a bevy of shows coming up next week.
A bevy?
Show. We got a proxy countdown. We got a Friday show. There's going to be a shareholder primacy on the other channel with Mike Levin and Ann Lipton. Come back and see those. And stay tuned for massive updates from Free Float Data World, because we're working on it. The updates are happening. Until then, good.